Hello, everybody, and welcome back to John Podcast. We're on episode 3. We made it past 2 episodes, and currently I'm doing this on a Thursday. And I also happen to be doing this before I go to the theater to go see 2 movies today. Those movies being The Apprentice and Terrifier 3, and I'm pretty hyped for both of them. But yeah, enough of that. The reason I'm doing it on a Thursday currently is because, I just watched the 2 films that I wanted to talk about, yesterday, and I figured if I want to retain them in my mind and have a good conversation with myself about them, I should probably watch them, just the day before. So yeah, and then if I have time tomorrow, since I'm seeing Terrifier 3 today, I suppose I could probably just do the Terrifier podcast tomorrow as well, because I plan on doing a whole episode dedicated to Terrifier. Yeah. Right now it is like 11 in the morning for me. I'm eating my breakfast, which happens to be a pumpkin spice cake thing. Probably not a very good breakfast, but it does taste pretty good. But yeah, anyway, so the 2 films I am going to talk about today are Strange Darling and Kinds of Kindness, and you already saw that from the title, but yeah, I suppose let's just dive in. Let's talk about Strange Darling. So, Strange Darling came out, I guess, in 2023. I don't know if it had like a wide release or... Excuse me. Okay, so I think it went through festival circuits in 2023, then it actually got released this year, because I think... so that means technically like a 2024 film. Oh my god. Anyway, I apologize, everybody. So yeah, Strange Darling. The main reason I checked this out is just because it was getting a lot of buzz from people saying, oh, it's a heck of a ride. And it has Kyle Gallner in it, who I had just seen in Dinner in America. And I really liked his performance in that movie. So I figured, yeah, why not? I'll check it out. And it was a ton of fun. It was a really good cast, too. I think that's, how do you pronounce her name? I think Via Fitzgerald, or Will. It's spelled Willa, but I don't know, because like Fitzgerald sounds like German or something. So I'm wondering what's Villa. Let's see here. I wonder if I've seen her in anything. I don't think so. She's in Reacher and the Scream TV series. But yeah, no, everybody in the cast, though, is, like, really good. Mainly just those 2 leads. Like, they genuinely kill it. Both of them have a ton of, charisma, and they're acting pretty natural for how their characters are written, which I really appreciate. One thing about this film that immediately caught my eye was just the fact that it was shot on 35mm. Which is really impressive, because from my understanding, this is the cinematographer's first film. Apologize for the shifting around. But yeah, it was his first film, and, that's quite a task for your first film to shoot it on 35mm, but this film looks, like, outstanding. That's the one thing I will say. All the colors pop. It's a lot. I think it's, like, shot in, sometime in, like... It looks like the fall for some reason. Like, not really fall, but like maybe like early September. And yeah, it just looks great. The opening shot is awesome. The opening shot just features 2 cars. Actually the opening shot's the girl running, but the shot after that features 2 cars going over the camera, which I was trying to figure out how they did, but I couldn't, so I just gave up. And yeah, there's a great sense of style to this movie. It's very style heavy, A lot of red used, very intentionally as well. There's quite a bit of blue and green, mainly within the forests, and yeah, it kind of just takes place in a set in rural Oregon. The film opens with like a "This is a true story" type crawling text, which I mean, if when you actually watch this film, you start to realize, oh no, that's just for style, but it's still kind of fun. That text kind of sets the tone immediately for the type of just the type of conflict this is going for, and also just the setting because it explains it's in rural Oregon. And yeah, I don't know. A lot of the lighting reminds me of a lot of those Italian horror movies, like the Mario Bava ones, or who's the dude who made Suspiria? Why am I forgetting his name? Dario Argento. I don't know. That's how I don't think that's how you pronounce it, but yeah, a lot of it reminds me of I believe it's pronounced Gaio or something. I don't know. Gaio horror movies. There's Italian horror movies. I probably didn't say that right. But yeah, the camera's always in the right place. It always looks fantastic. A lot of crazy top-down shots as well. A lot of fantastic wide shots that give us a sort of sense of the environment that these people are in. Yeah, no, the woods in this movie also looks fantastic when they shoot in there. But yeah, just immediately that choice to shoot it on 35 millimeter really paid off because yeah, it just looks amazing. I know a lot of people, at least from a lot of the reviews that I was reading, took a lot of issue with the fact that it announced that it like shot it on 35 millimeter, but I don't know. I feel like if it's a cinematographer's first film, and if it's a film like already this style heavy and already doing the slow crawl text. Dang, that was my sister. I forgot to turn this to Do Not Disturb. But yeah, no, it's already doing that crawl text, and I get it. It's like you could easily see it as a very pretentious decision in a lot of ways, but it looks beautiful. That's the one thing I will say. It never really bothered me that they decided to announce it like that. But yeah, another thing that immediately this film lets you in on, it's shot in a non-linear order of events. So it has like, it's separated in like 6 chapters or something, or 6 or 5 chapters. And each chapter is told in, I guess, just in a different order. Well, I should say they rearrange the chapters to tell them in a different order. And I'm not gonna lie, that's like one of the main decisions that didn't really work for me, because it just never really felt like it had that much of a purpose within the story. I look at a film that also came out this year, like Challengers, which is also told in a non-linear order, but immediately they make the purpose of that incredibly clear. And it actually has a purpose, whereas this film just kind of felt like it was doing it to be more Tarantino-esque and to show off like how cool its screenplay is, which it is a good screenplay. A lot of the dialogue that these characters are given adds a lot of character to the film, and just very Oregon-esque. But no, the decision to have it in non-linear, I know that it's supposed to like make some of the reveals like a lot more interesting, but I don't know. It kind of ruined a lot of the tension for me because I already knew where it was going, so I was just kind of waiting for it to go there, and eventually it did. Whereas if you would have shot it in sort of a non-linear order, there would be some really weird things happening. Like you could immediately tell, oh, this is like really off. But yeah, no. Just a lot of the tension just wasn't as present as I would prefer, but I definitely get why the director would feel that's a good decision, just because it already feels very Tarantino inspired in how its dialogue is written. But overall, though, the story is fun. That's one thing I will absolutely say about this film, is that it's incredibly fun. Again, just the characters really worked for me. I thought they were a ton of fun. They're perfectly played. Then Man, I don't know. I guess another thing I have to add about the story is that despite the nonlinear, the way the story is being told, it's constantly taking the story in interesting places, regardless, and giving us some really interesting reveals. And yeah, and the one thing I don't really want to give too much about the plot, but a lot of people describe it as sort of a cat and mouse game. But one thing that I would probably use to describe this is like a cat and cat game. I don't really know if that's like how you properly use that expression, but you never know who's gonna be the cat in 1 second. So it kind of just feels like two people who are occasionally getting the upper hand on each other, and it's like genuinely a ton of fun to watch unfold. And man, yeah, no, there's some really great scenes where a certain reveal happens that puts another character above one character. You're like, oh wow, that's actually really cool. And yikes. Yeah, I might have like a cold or something. I should probably see what my sister texted me about. I don't really know what she. Let's see here. Yeah, so I'm bringing my sister with to the movies, so I believe she was a pretty big fan of Terrifier 2. I like Terrifier 2, but I'm gonna talk about it more on the next episode. But yeah, back to the film. I apologize for these waits. It's doing it in the morning is like kind of tired. It's tiring. Despite the fact that I got up at like 10. I don't know. Work has like screwed me up. But yeah. Man, about this film. Yeah, I don't know. The main thing that compelled me was just the environment and these characters. I really just love the way this is shot, and I love the locations it picked. It's also one of those things where it's like really obviously a low budget movie because like the locations, are like are there locations that like any low budget movie would want to shoot. Like they have a hotel. Like there's also just not a lot of locations, which I really appreciate seeing. There's a really great sense of practicality here that I really love to see. But yeah, now they shoot in the woods, a couple roads, a hotel, and then finally a house. And yeah, no, there's like not too many locations it goes to, but again, I appreciated that because just yeah, it's low budget. It uses those locations very effectively for terms of how it's shot. In the house in particular, there's just a lot of really great. There's one in particular. There's this one really great oneer that's kind of just this tracking shot of Kyle Gallner's character, who's called the Demon, and yeah, it's this great tracking shot where he's like trying to find her and like going through the house, and it's actually surprisingly tense. But again, having that so early in the film takes away from some of the tension for me. Man, this Walmart food's like not bad. I'm not even gonna lie. Yeah, no. I guess yeah. Just the main thing I'd use to describe this film as fun. There's some implications at the end that sort of turn it into almost like a feminist revenge story, just in a way. Even though on Letterboxd, a lot of people can't really seem to agree whether it's feminist or misogynistic, which I thought was kind of fun to see. I'm more viewing it from a fairly feminist lens, just from how that reveal at the end is played off. But I'll get into the reveal near the end because it's not like something that's too huge, and it doesn't really spoil really what happens in the story anyways. But yeah, no, yeah, it's not like insanely investing on a thought-provoking level, but I enjoyed the narrative and visuals a lot. I mean, Then I will admit, like I've been talking trash about how like the story's told, but I still like that story a lot. It's a lot. There's a lot of great tension, a lot of great reveals within it. Ed Begley Jr. shows up and he makes breakfast and he uses like an entire stick of butter to cook his eggs, which I thought was like insane. That was probably the most insane thing I've seen in this film. Just the fact that the dude used an entire stick of butter to cook his eggs. I thought that was that was pretty funny. But I will admit, regardless of how fatty and insane that breakfast looked, I still wanted it. It looked like a really good sandwich. It had like pancakes as the buns, eggs, sausage, and a bunch of like syrup between it. I'm trying to think of what else was between there. Also some like raspberry jam. That was just a really crazy breakfast scene. That's probably one of the best breakfast scenes in cinema. Just a whole stick of butter to cook your eggs. Well, anyways. Yeah, no, I suppose I don't have too much to say about this film, because the main thing, it's one of those films that kind of hinges on your experience of watching it and watching it play out. And there's not too much going on. There's like, I suppose I should just get in at the implication at the end regarding the main character seeing the devils in people, and that being her ultimate goal of torturing them. So basically, she'll like meet a man, and then like try to get to know him a little bit, and then at some point, something flashes in her eyes, and it makes her see like who they really are, and it'll show like a devil in their place. So I think that's just like a sort of thing with like how a lot of men treat women or all that, because a lot of these happen on like one night stands or anything like that. So what she does is once she sees that devil, she spikes them with like ketamine and then proceeds to torture them. And I guess her name in this is like the Electric Lady. So she's like, if this were like a exploitation movie, she'd be like the anti-hero basically. But yeah, no, it's a fun implication, and there's a reveal at the end that the movie, it kind of goes, it like as soon as you hear that she sees a devil in people, you kind of know where it's going after that. In terms of like how she turns out, and yeah, overall though, it's a lot of fun. It definitely reminds me of a lot of the films that it's trying to replicate in terms of like exploitation films, Tarantino. But it really works just because of that really great sense of style and those leads who really sell the dialogue. And there's some scenes that I think definitely drag a little bit too long for my taste. And I suppose I didn't even talk about the music. The music's good. It's not always used in an effective way. Sometimes it can be used in place of where tension is supposed to be, but because of the way the story's told, the tension already really isn't there. So that's just like my main thing. But regardless of that, it stays true to the tone. There's one there's one part where she's in like a freezer, and then like an entire song plays, and she kind of just sits there doing nothing. I thought that was okay. That's kind of weird. But other than that, I really like the music. It starts off with a banger. There's some good tracks used throughout that fit the tone pretty well, in my opinion. But yeah, I don't have too much to say about this. I really enjoyed it. It would probably, if I were to give it a rating, it'd probably be somewhere around a 6 or a 7 out of 10. Most likely a 6. But overall, yeah, I thought it was really great. I wonder what it was. By the way, it was directed by J.T. Mullner. I usually try to say that at the beginning. It was written by him as well. And let's see if he made anything else quickly. Yeah, J.T. Mullner. Yeah, he's a really talented dude, just from what I can tell. And he did some westerns, I see. Outlaws and Angels. I haven't heard of this one. I didn't really get particularly good reviews, but I'd be definitely open to checking it out. It has Luke Wilson in it. I think I'm talking away from the mic too much, but yeah. Madison Beatty, yeah, she was in Strange Darling as well. Outlaws and Angels, I'll definitely check that out. And he's doing an upcoming film called The Long Walk, which has Mark Hamill and Cooper Hoffman in it. Holy crap. I'm definitely looking forward to that one. That one could be kind of cool. I really like Cooper Hoffman. But yeah. Yeah, Strange Darling, really solid. It would probably be around a 6 out of 10 if I were to give it a rating on my personal enjoyment and what I got out of the film. But yeah, that cast rocks. That cinematography rocks. Really just fantastic sense of style. A lot of great reveals, a lot of great payoffs. I would love to see a linear cut of this film. I think that'd be really great if they released a Blu-ray with the OG cut and then also a linear cut. I think that'd be kind of sick if like most chronological movies did that. They just like had like a bonus within the Blu-ray or something for a linear cut. I think that'd be kind of cool. If I ever did, like, released a non-linear movie, one, it would have to have a purpose within the story, and two, it would come with a linear cut. But yeah, that's just me. Yeah, Strange Darling. So I suppose I should probably move on to my next movie, which is a movie that I'd been looking forward to for a long time, as soon as it was revealed, and it's Kinds of Kindness. I'm a really big fan of Yorgos Lanthimos. Dogtooth is legitimately one of my favorite movies ever. Poor Things is already one of my favorite movies ever. Yeah, The Lobster, The Killing of a Sacred Deer, The Favorite, they're all like 9 out of 10s for me. I really, really love Yorgos's stuff. I love his style. He's a director that knows exactly what to do, where to put the camera, how to tell his stories, how to direct his actors, how to use music, all that. He's just such a talented dude. And I was really looking forward to Kinds of Kindness, and yeah, it definitely paid off. I thought it was great. I really, really loved this. I would definitely say it's probably on the lower end of his filmography, in terms of personal enjoyment for me, at least, and also it seems like for everybody else too, it seems to be on the lower end, but that's just kind of how a lot of anthologies go. But yeah, no, this film, yeah, it's an anthology for one, which I really love anthologies. I'm a big fan of the VHS movies, which maybe I'll talk about someday, I don't know. But yeah, immediately, the cast is just stacked. We have Emma Stone, Margaret Qualley, Jesse Plemons, Hunter Schafer, Willem Dafoe, Hong Chow. Let's see if I can pronounce this. Mamoudou Athie? It's definitely wrong, but Yorgos Stephanakos, who plays this character called RMF, who's kind of a mystery throughout this film. And you kind of just never really learn much about this titular character of RMF. But yeah, no, it's definitely not for everybody. It has like a 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb, 71% Rotten Tomatoes, Super 4 on Letterboxd. So yeah, definitely on the lower end of the reception his films usually get. But the main experience I had with this film beforehand, before I had the chance to see it, was me defending it on Letterboxd. Not really even this film itself, but more defending Lanthimos as an artist, because a lot of Letterboxd users were like, here's the main issue I have with Letterboxd. It can never be enough to just say, well, his style really isn't for me, or I'm not really a big fan of this type of imagery, but they have to instead say, oh, there's something completely wrong with this imagery and he's breaking certain rules of cinema. And I'm like, man, you guys are just so boring and not fun. And it's just never enough to say, well, something isn't for me. It's always, there's something fundamentally wrong with this, and he's not a real artist. It's crazy to me. But yeah, I would love to rant about Letterboxd more, but I don't know if I should. I'm just gonna say it's probably the most annoying movie review site. Because with Rotten Tomatoes, at least I can tell people are like being sincere. With IMDb, I can at least tell people are being sincere. Their reviews are at least sincere, even if I completely disagree with their reviews. But with Letterboxd, it's mainly just joke reviews, and it's mainly people just being the most pretentious people ever. And I don't know. I hate a lot of those people on Letterboxd. I think they're super annoying. And I would love to see them. You know what I would love to see? I would love to see them get handed, like, I don't know, $1 million to make a movie, and then somehow distribute it and then put it in theaters. And I'll go see that movie and see what they made. Because the way they talk seems like they know every single aspect of cinema and like how to make a film. So I'm like, okay, well then make one. If you're gonna talk like that, you know, you're talking really big. Go make a film then, you know. But regardless, yeah, back to this movie. Yeah, Yorgos always surprises me in some respect. The cinematography of this film is already just fantastic. He seems to shoot with a lot of natural light, already giving it a sort of natural feel. But another big part of his style is a lot of these long tracking shots and really, really wide lenses. That's another thing he really loves to use. It gives us a sense of the environment. It gives us so much to work with in terms of how these characters are reacting within the environment. I remember one thing that a Letterboxd user once said to me was that he seems to shoot architecture and not focus on the characters' performances, as if there's a certain way you have to shoot a film. It's never enough to just say, well, I'm not a really big fan of the way he shoots films. It's always, well, there's something fundamentally wrong, and he's not focusing on characters' performances, and he's kind of breaking the rules in a way. And it just gives me a headache, honestly, listening to these people talk and talk and talk, because they never even post any of their stuff. They never post any of their art. So I'm like, okay, well, let's see you make something. Let's see it. But anyway, I don't know how many people are going to be listening to this, but I hope I didn't offend anybody. Just kidding. I hope I did offend you, and I hope you go out and stop being a little bitch and make stuff. But anyway, yeah, no. Just the environment in this film is already really eerie and dry, similar to a lot of Yorgos films. Kinds of Kindness had a lot more going in terms of how the actors are acting. They were a lot more expressive, just because as soon as Poor Things is just generally going for a lot of different things in this one. This one seems to be going back to his sort of really dry, absurdist stuff, even though... Man, somebody's downstairs. That scares me. I hope they didn't hear what I said about Letterboxd users. I gotta be quiet. Can you hear the footsteps, everybody? It'd be great if I had a garage to shoot in or something. That'd be really awesome. Man, they're so loud downstairs. I think that my mom's doing something with the bathroom, probably cleaning it. I wonder if she's waiting to hear if I talk. I'm gonna take a bite of this. Yeah, she's still down there, doing something with the towels. Oh wow. On Google Reviews, it has a 2.0 rating. That does not surprise me. I think audiences would hate this. General audiences are probably some of the most boring people on the planet. But, oh well. Anyway, I think the coast is clear. But anyway, the music is already setting the tone for sort of a dry, absurdist type of story. The first song you hear in this film is "Sweet Dreams Are Made of These." I don't know if it's a song name, but it kind of gives you an insight on what the film is actually about. And it's not like one of those things where you have to understand the song to truly get this film. All three of its stories do a really good job of making it pretty clear as to what this is about, and the types of stories that it's dealing with, and the types of themes it's dealing with. But yeah, let's talk about story one. This one stars Jesse Plemons, and this is maybe one of the this is probably the funniest one in my opinion. I know a lot of people didn't really like story one that much, but I really loved this one. Man, God, what was it? Okay, so basically, Willem Dafoe plays the head of this like giant corporation that Jesse Plemons works for, and he gives Jesse Plemons all this stuff, and he gives him this house. He helps him find his wife, and this corporation just has like a ton of control over Jesse Plemons. And at some point, they ask him to kill this dude named RMF. And again, yeah, RMF is just sort of a vessel for these stories in a sense. It doesn't. I'm not really sure what he's supposed to mean yet, but he has a purpose within the story, and he's in every short. But anyway, Willem Dafoe wants Jesse Plemons to kill this dude named RMF. And Jesse Plemons kind of can't do it, and it kind of just follows him as he has this breakdown, and he starts to lose everything because this corporation had so much control over him. And, yeah, no, God, it's super funny just watching him completely lose his mind. His wife leaves him. Just the control that Willem Dafoe and just this corporation had over him in general leaves him lost. And it's really depressing, but the way it's played is really funny. But yeah, a lot of really stellar music, of course. All three shorts have stellar music that immediately give off the sort of dry and eerie, but comical and wacky at the same time tone. A lot of the jokes in this movie are like super out of pocket and like really silly. I remember one thing on Letterboxd that I saw was that this film has no logical consistency. But I'm like, okay, but what are you comparing it to? You're obviously trying to like compare it to reality, right? Like you do realize that films can like create their own worlds with their own logical things and not have to replicate the real world. Again, these people are just the most boring people on the planet. Like, actually, I just hate listening to them. And that's why I don't. I literally just ended up blocking, not really blocking, but unfriending everybody who annoyed me. And so far, I've been a lot happier, and it got me to start this podcast, too. But yeah, honestly, the most boring people on the planet with nothing to say. It's crazy to me. But anyway, the natural lighting in all three of these shorts is so beautiful. In this one, there's this really great scene where Jesse Plemons is just walking across a pool, and the tracking shot was just genuinely, it just looked amazing. There's also a great tracking shot where he's in an office, and it's just following him as he's walking to see somebody, and it just, the way Yorgos shoots his films just looks fantastic. The color grading, just fantastic. Especially a lot of the best looking shots in this film takes place at like night. But yeah, just the way he shoots the nighttime is really astounding to me. I really love it. But yeah, back to that like whole architecture argument. Is it really focused on showing the architecture? The dude who said this only stayed for the first short. And I'm like, okay, you have a short revolving around giant corporations and their control over us. Of course, he's going to shoot the hell out of the architecture. Like, oh my god. It's really where you can have the most motivated shots ever and it would still fly over people's heads. And like, it's just this really boring view of how films like have to be and how they should be. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Your film professors probably suck. I'm not going to lie. Anyway. Yeah. The cast is just super amazing. Willem Dafoe in this one is super funny. No, man. It really does just sort of explore this relationship between us and corporations and how far we're willing to go for them, because they give us comfort and security, and as soon as we start to lose that security, we start to freak out, And it's just a ton of interesting stuff going on thematically. And the visuals are always tying into it in a way, with how it shoots buildings and how it shoots wealth. It really looks fantastic. Jesse Plemons is so good in this short too. Like, he genuinely rocks. And yeah, no, I really love this one. He just loses his place in the universe, and it really does explore that morality of, like, okay, because, like, he is starting to just contemplate, like, actually killing this guy so he can get his place back. His place in the universe back. And it's just a ton of questions about, like, morality and how far you're willing to go. And it ends in such an amazing way. I really, really loved this one a lot. I thought it was a ton of fun. But yeah, I suppose I should talk about the second one now. So the second one, for some reason, RMF only shows up in, like, one scene, which I thought was kind of weird. But yeah, this one follows a dude who lost his wife, because, she's not really lost. She's lost at sea, I should say. So he's sort of grieving over it, and again, Jesse Plemons plays this character, and he's like, all of these shorts have just the most out of pocket stuff ever. I gotta take a sip of my iced tea. Hold on. I love green tea from Arizona. That ginseng stuff is so good. Anyway, yeah, no, Jesse Plemons is overcome with grief. There's a scene where he's at a dinner table, and he's talking with his friends, like, hey, can we watch the tape? And you don't really know what the tape is. You're like, oh, that's kind of weird. They're like, well, it would be kind of uncomfortable with that. It'd be kind of uncomfortable for everybody. I'm like, what the hell is the tape then? And then eventually he starts to just cry at the table. And again, it's all played for, like, it's all an absurdist comedy. It's all played up in the funniest way possible. But yeah, then they actually put on the tape, and it turns out it's just a sex tape between these two couples, the two couples, the one at the table and Jesse Plemons and his wife. It's like one of the funniest things I've seen in a while, and he's just watching it like super seriously, like clearly trying to keep it together, but he's really sad. And then the other characters are, like, really uncomfortable the whole time. It's just uncomfortable is one way to describe all these shorts. They're all really funny and really weird and out of pocket and uncomfortable and wacky. Yeah, no, this is definitely one of the wackiest movies that Yorgos has made. I know Poor Things really loves to play in that sort of absurdist realm, and this generally takes place. It uses reality as sort of a background and sort of a way to guide these stories, but has its own spin on it and uses its absurdist humor to guide these stories, which I really love. It's reality, but also not. I love it. And God, yeah, Jesse Plemons is great in this one. And as soon as they find his wife, played by Emma Stone, he starts to get really neurotic and paranoid that it's not her. And he starts having her, like, do some really weird things. He's kind of just acting like a child the whole time. This is one that probably could have been cut down a little bit, but I still really loved it regardless. And it's kind of just exploring this relationship between these two, and he feels that she's changed because she didn't, like, memorize his favorite song. And he feels, like, really uncomfortable about that, I guess. And he's like, oh, she's a completely different person. This isn't my wife. And yeah, no, it's just incredibly silly. And he's, like, basically just acting like a child after this. He refuses to eat because he doesn't want to eat any of the food she cooked. And oh god, I gotta take another bite of this. The whole rest of the time is dedicated to her trying to prove to him that she's real, and him just being an absolute child. And he eventually gets her to chop off her thumb and feed it to him, which she ended up feeding to the cat. And this whole short has sort of an overarching theme about what we do for the, like, how far we're willing to go for the people you love. Love hurts is another way to put it. And it also has a lot to do with, like, change and that sort of mistrust that can sometimes happen with couples. And it really rocks. I really love the way they explored it. Again, Jesse Plemons is just endlessly funny in this one. Emma Stone is also fantastic. This one, I'm also gonna go on another Letterboxd rant because there's another one that one of these Letterboxd users was fucking complaining about again. Alright. So I was having a discussion with this guy in Letterboxd. This is before I'd seen the film. Whoops. He did not mean to do that. But, he was like, yeah, so he's talking about the thumb scene in this one, in which Emma Stone cuts off her thumb. He was like, yeah, well, so basically, it didn't really have to show it cutting off thumb. It was perfectly uncomfortable before, but then it really ends the tension of, Emma Stone cutting off her thumb as soon as it starts to show it. And I was like, okay, but Yorgos Lanthimos has always been a director to show the after effects of what a character has done. Like, and especially in the context that this is used, you're supposed to see her harming herself for the dude that she loves. And again, it's just this really weird thing where they think movies, like, have to be a certain way, and if a movie isn't a certain way, then they don't like it, which is, and again, it's never enough for them to just say, well, it's not really my thing. It's always there's something fundamentally wrong with this. I'm like, God, you guys just suck. You guys are just so boring. Like, go make something, please. Just make something. Be creative. Right? But anyway. Yeah, the thumb shot in particular was really, really disgusting and not easy to watch, but it was really fantastic. A lot of great sound effects in that. She genuinely looks like Emma Stone. Like, I mean, there's a lot of scenes where these characters, like, actually look like they're in pain, and they're really expressive when they are in pain or when they're sad, and it just works immensely well. It's sort of used as juxtaposition against everybody acting really mundane and everything, and I really love it. Super absurdist, of course. I use absurdist a lot, but it's true. This is a comedy first and foremost. The comedy really connects with me due to how out of pocket and wacky it is, but also how disturbing it is too, with the context of everything going on. And yeah, I'm not gonna spoil too much of this short. The thumb thing is like something that everybody probably knew was gonna happen anyways. This is good stuff. I'm almost finished with it too. But yeah, just the idea of somebody versus the reality of somebody is sort of one thing that I was sort of picking up on. Like, he had this idea of her, and when she comes back, she's obviously going to be a little bit different from being stranded on the island so much. And just, yeah, he's just kind of scared of that change. And it's a pretty relatable and human story, all things considered. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a ton of fun. Jesse Plemons is so great. Emma Stone is super great. Yeah. I suppose I don't want to say too much about this because the way it ends is, like, really insane, and then the credits are absolutely nuts. I've never seen, like, the credits already, like, really cement the type of film that this is going to be. I guess if there was one issue with this film, it's definitely that I would probably rearrange them, like, the shorts in a different way. But, no, that's like the only issue I would have is that with the RMF character, there's kind of like a story with him in a way. You only see him once in this one though. He gives Emma Stone like a trophy, and that's the only time you see him. But yeah, no. If the first short could have been this one, then it ended the way it did with the dogs, I think that would have probably brought people in a little bit more. But nah, it's still really great regardless of the. God, I don't know. Yeah, I can't stop thinking about the way that's the credits played out in this one. It was like, you gotta watch it to believe it. It's really funny. Yeah, I don't know. I really love that Yorgos is just sense of humor. I really thought the second one was incredible. I thought the first one was really great. Second one was probably my favorite. I think it's incredible. I suppose we should probably start talking about the third one now. The third one was definitely my least favorite, but I still have a lot to say about it because I still think it's really interesting and really, really dark. This one is probably the least funny because it feels like, my bad. It feels like the most hard to watch in some ways in terms of like watching a character destroy herself and destroy her family relations just to get a sense of community. And yeah, Hunter Schafer, who had like top billing in this, was only in this short, and it was only at the beginning where she was shirtless, and that was it. Like that's all she had. So I was kind of surprised they gave her top billing, but maybe I missed one. I don't know. But yeah, this one has Margaret Qualley in it the most. She plays two characters, and basically Emma Stone is on a search for this girl who can bring people back to life. And she's kind of searching with Jesse Plemons to find it so they could presumably bring that girl back to their little cult that they're running. Willem Dafoe is the leader of this cult, and he kind of just sleeps with everybody, and everybody has this rule where they have to drink water, and the water is infused with Willem Dafoe and Hong Chau's tears. By the way, Hong Chau is in all of these shorts, and she's fantastic. I really loved Hong Chau in a lot of these ones. Yeah, she kills it. I really loved her in The Whale as well. I know a lot of people don't like The Whale, but I was a fan of that one. I should probably talk about The Whale once. I'd love to talk about some Aronofsky. I really love that dude in terms of his directing style and all that. But anyway, yeah, no, Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons is just kind of their journey to finding this one girl who can bring people back to life, bring her back to the cult, etc., etc. And it explores Emma Stone's, the life that she left behind. She left behind a husband and kids. Not kids, sorry, just a kid who they called the little one, which I thought was kind of funny. I don't remember if they referred to her as her name. It's just the little one. And the husband really wants Emma Stone back, of course, and the kid really wants Emma Stone back. You can tell it's kind of affecting the kid. But later on, you find out that the husband is like a genuine scumbag. And I'm like, okay, so she wasn't going through this type of stuff within the cult, and her husband's like so it introduces this whole like moral thing. I'm like, all right, we got to get that kid away from the husband for once. But anyway, yeah, I still thought that there's a lot of great car stunts in this. There's kind of this joke that where anytime Emma Stone's character goes anywhere, the way she drives her car is as if she's like constantly doing stunts. She's constantly drifting it, which I thought was really funny because she's playing it like 100% seriously. Like as soon as she's done drifting this car or doing a really cool stunt, she gets out of it and she's just like stone-faced, which I thought was like genuinely kind of funny. But that's like the main joke they have in this one, because this one takes a more like serious turn, and which is kind of funny. But actually, no, it's not the only joke. There's also the Emma Stone dancing one that is in this one that everybody's seen in the trailers. But yeah, the dancing scene is phenomenal, by the way. I really, really love that dance scene that she has in terms of victory, which does not end the way she wanted it to, but you gotta watch the movie to find out. But yeah, again, this one just has a fantastic sense of style. A lot of the cult imagery is really fantastic, and just the way Yorgos and the cinematographer are composing those shots just looks fantastic. I wonder if this was shot on film. I'm gonna search it up because, man, I love just the way the colors in this film and the way it's shot. You know. The initials RMF are not in reference to anything, and that's crazy. There's not really that much on the Wikipedia page about this. Let's see. Shot on film. Alright, let's see here. Yeah, Kinds of Kindness was shot on 35 millimeter Kodak film. Yeah, I was gonna say this film just looks phenomenal. A lot of the exposure is up a lot too, just because of you kind of, especially in that first one, the exposure is up because the main character feels exposed, which is like another technique I saw used in Punch Drunk Love. I really love that decision made in that movie, and it's made really well in this movie too. Um, but yeah, the third story, it generally goes some really dark places. There's some really messed up stuff in this one. It's really good. I really enjoyed it, but I think I was starting to also just get worn out at some point too. Um, it's also I was kind of hoping it just kind of felt like it could be trimmed down a little. There's a ton of stuff in this one with the storyline as far as the person who can heal stuff and the cult storyline and the family storyline. It works. It all flows together pretty well, but there wasn't an insane amount of interesting stuff going on besides just the amazing performances, cinematography, and the fun storyline, some fun themes about community and how far we'll go to achieve that community. A lot of really great stuff. But yeah, the ending is 100% worth it. That makes it really worth it, in my opinion. And then the ending, after the first credits ending is phenomenal. Just shows RMF eating a hot dog. Really great stuff. But yeah, it's one of those films. This is one of those films that you can just describe all three shorts to somebody and still not spoil it because there's so many jokes packed in, and all of them are extremely dry and hilarious, thanks to the great line delivery and everything. But yeah, I don't know. I really loved the story. I mean, this movie, I thought it was great. The third one, it's hard to watch anthologies, especially ones that are almost 3 hours long. It definitely starts to get a little bit tiring. But overall, I really loved it. It'd probably be around an 8 out of 10 from me. Definitely one of my favorites of the year so far. Had a blast with it. I would definitely be willing to watch it again and also get the Blu-ray. But yeah, I also learned that Letterboxd just sucks, and the people on it, a lot of them suck, not all of them, of course. But yeah, really loved this one. Yeah, I'm tired, man. I'm super tired. I apologize for how messy this one was, but I was kind of just hoping to get this episode out of the way. I'm going to have a guest on the 6th episode, which I'm really excited about. We're going to be talking about 2 movies that I'm excited to discuss because they're 2 movies I haven't seen. And yeah, I'm pumped for that. But yeah, next episode, I don't know, maybe, hopefully I'll get this episode out by today. It's probably going to take a while to upload as per usual. But, yeah, no. And I hope maybe the Terrifier episode will come out tomorrow if I have time. I know I have to do some work tomorrow with my second job, so I guess I'll see how that goes. But yeah, thank you everybody for listening. I apologize for the messy podcast. I probably would prefer to not do these in the morning, but it is what it is. Anyway, yeah. Thank you for listening. I definitely recommend you check out these 2 movies and support them any way you can if you're interested. Support independent cinema. That's one thing I'll always say. Support artists like Yorgos Lanthimos who do something really interesting and obviously love making movies. Just, yeah. Have a good day, everybody. I certainly will. Goodbye.